Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Welcome to our show. Today we'll be talking about the NBA Finals, the MLB, the World Cup. If at any point you have a topic or question, be sure to comment below and we'll discuss. For those of you who don't know, I'm Miguel Lluesma, and I'm here with James Grande and Matt
Yo.
Barry.
Yo,
Thanks
yo.
for joining us today, and let's get started. Our first topic is going to be the NBA Finals. After a 111-92 victory over the Miami Heat, the Spurs have now taken a 2-1 lead. Kawhi Leonard had a career night scoring 29 points for San Antonio, while LeBron James and Dwayne Wade added 22 each. So my first question for you is, this is for you, Matt, and that is, do the Spurs now have control over this series?
Okay, as far as control over the series, it's only Game 3 that was just played. We still got a long way to go in this one. It's only 2-1 Spurs, and Miami still is playing Game 4 at home, which I expect them to come out a lot better. And I'm never going to count out the champs two years in a row after only being down 2-1. And not only that, they didn't even play that great last night. So, no, I definitely do not think the Spurs have control at this point.
All right, James, same question. Do they have control?
Okay, well, I have a stat for you from numberfire.com. When in a 2-2, 1-1-1 series, the winner of Game 3 is 283-62 in the remainder of the series, and for an 82% win rate. So the winner of Game 3 wins 82% of the time, the series. So I would say that's a pretty, not commanding, but that's a big percentage for the remainder of the series. And before Game 3, they had also according to numberfire.com, if they won, they had it was a 72% chance, 72% odds, and if the Heat won, it would have been a 68% odds. So the Spurs, they're actually predicting the Spurs to be a better team, which I think is true.
All right, if I had to answer the question myself, I would probably say that, they have a little bit of control, but if you go back to last year, it's pretty much the same thing that happened. The Spurs won Game 1, Miami came back and responded, ended up winning Game 3, the Spurs did, and then Miami came back and responded. The interesting thing to me, though, is that in the Big Three era, they haven't lost a consecutive game in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's crazy.
3 or 4 years, it's been ridiculous. So I do think Miami's going to bounce back. As far as control goes, I got to go with Matt on this one. It's definitely too early to tell, and it's only Game 3. So with that being said, let's talk Game 4. Going into Game 4, James, what adjustments do you think Miami has to make so that they can stop the Spurs from shooting 75% in the first half again?
Well, first off, you jumped into the first half. I picked out their 2 losses. Both fourth quarters, they've scored 16 and 17 points in both of them, and 21 in their win. So obviously, maybe it's fatigue or it's a lot of just standing around. I know their point guards haven't been playing the best, so I think that's a big issue. And I think they had 20 turnovers compared to 12 for San Antonio, which is just a massive number. And heading into that, what about the turnovers? What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, the first thing I'll say is, last night LeBron James and Dwayne Wade each had LeBron had 7 turnovers and Wade had 5. And San Antonio's entire roster had 12 turnovers, just them. So obviously they have to cut down on turnovers. That's been a big issue. One statistic to bring up is that the Spurs have had a turnover only 17.2% of their possessions, while the Heat have only had 19.9%, according to NBA.com, and that's a number that's going to have to go down. If you look statistically, you turn the ball over, you're not going to win games. And for Miami to make adjustments, they need to control the ball, and they need to try and force more turnovers on the other side, because Miami has been a team historically that has produced on offense more on the defensive end. When they get into the open court, that's when Dwayne Wade, LeBron James start playing a lot better.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. It's interesting. You would think in a series that's been very turnover plagued that it would actually help Miami, a team that likes to get out on the run and use the others' turnovers to benefit their own offense. given the Spurs 17%, it's very surprising that they haven't been able to get that run. And another thing that I love is the fact that they haven't gotten to Bosch much really. You look at there's a lot of minutes they have, and they're not taking advantage of this right now. Down low, you're able to spread a guy like Chris Bosh, who I believe is the most important of this series because of how the inability of Duncan and Splitter at this point in their careers to spread out and guard him on the perimeter. I look to see more pick and roll. I look to see a more aggressive Miami, and I look to see a more Miami that's going to get out and run like they normally do, is what I'd say about this.
Yeah,
Moving on now to the worst Miami player in the series, I'd go with Mario Chalmers. I mean, Miguel, what are your thoughts on your boy Mario?
All right, well, as you guys know, I am a supporter of the Heat, so I've been watching them play for a very long time now, and even before the LeBron days, I was watching Miami, and one person who was on the team before LeBron came was Mario Chalmers, and he is somebody who has been through a lot in the NBA. You know, coming out of college and high school, he was already used to winning. He was with the Heat through those horrible years, and as a fan, it was just awful to watch. And once LeBron came, Mario Chalmers kind of came into his own. He had a newer role where he was able to just have the job of just spreading the floor out. He worked on his three-point shot even more, became a really, great three-point shooter. This year, however, it has not been the same Mario Chalmers of the past. He's been a lot more careless with the basketball, which I've noticed in the start of this NBA Finals. He hasn't been shooting well, and one thing that he really has slacked off on has been defense. Defensively speaking, I mean, this is just the worst performance I've seen by a point guard in a long time. The game one, we're talking 5 fouls in only 14 minutes of play. Game two, he was a little bit better. Game three last night, you kind of still saw some of those mistakes. He really didn't get it going offensively, and he's really just been hurting the team. And you got to wonder if Spoelstra needs to make the move to Norris Cole or perhaps a lineup without a point guard at all. I mean, you have LeBron James, who is somebody that can run the point, and if they go big, it might end up working better for them against this Spurs lineup.
Realistically, LeBron's the best point guard on the floor. Almost every time he steps on the floor.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind seeing it, but I do think that Norris Cole is very good defensively. So I don't think that he should be excluded. If anyone, it should be Chalmers to just play a limited role. Even maybe think about going to Tony Douglas a little more.
You did not just say Tony Douglas. Oh.
Hey, bro. Is he's better at this point than Mario Chalmers, huh? I think anyone's better than Mario Chalmers at this point.
I'll give you that. You can make an argument. Definitely could. I mean, my whole thing with this, I would go the first half. I'd start off with more of a Norris Cole mix, maybe mix in a little Mario Chalmers, Tony Douglas. But come, I'd say, late third quarter, early fourth, LeBron. You kind of got to go to that LeBron versus Tony Parker.
Yep, I agree.
You got
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we got our first question of the night. It's from Amanda Barry. It says, it's actually directed towards me, Miguel. Who do you think is the worst player in this series, if not Mario Chalmers? That is a really tough question. To be honest with you, everybody's been playing really well. It's easy to pick on Mario Chalmers because he's one who just hasn't been playing well. I'm actually going to take a little bit of a shocker for you guys, but I'm going to give you somebody who's not the worst player in this series but needs to play at a higher level, and I'm going to go with my favorite player, Dwayne Wade. I think we only saw a little bit of what he's capable of in this previous third quarter where he went off, but if you look at his first half in Game 3, he only shot the ball 4 times, he had only 2 assists, and he really, he kind of, you made a joke the other night that he's starting to play James Harden defense. And if you have a guy like Danny Green who's lit you up last year in the finals, and then this year he's starting to do it again, you need to make sure that you cover him and, don't let him get open shots because he has been killing the Heat these last 2 years. So somebody, not the worst player, but someone who definitely needs to step up, Dwayne Wade. LeBron James can't win on his own. Chris Bosh and Tim Duncan, they're going at it, so you can't ask Chris Bosh to carry the team. It needs to be Dwayne Wade that steps up.
Yeah, how about Danny Green off the bounce these last couple games, huh?
He's been playing
I didn't even know
phenomenal.
he could dribble.
Yeah, dude. I never knew he went inside the three-point arc until the last couple games.
I'll say this. I agree with you. I'm really surprised he hasn't taken more advantage when Ginobili's on the floor, I feel, with Wade. Because at this point in Ginobili's career, does he really have the agility and the lateral movement to keep up with a guy like Wade? I'd like to think not at this point, but I don't know. We haven't seen the Wade that I think is going to have to come up and play in these finals in order for them to win the
Yeah,
series.
I'm wondering if he might be injured. Do you think there's a possibility?
I mean, with Wade, honestly, since
Yeah,
2007, it's been a possibility he's going to. So I don't have an exact answer for you.
but
My guess would be probably in some type of way hurt, but I don't know if it's really affected him.
he had a lot of rest during the regular season, so I don't know if it's really an injury. I mean, he played really poorly, and then he dominated the third quarter, and then that was really all of Wade. The third quarter was him, like the flash that you
Yeah.
used to see.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. Now that we're talking about, quarter-wise, in the third quarter, Dwayne Wade did take over, but in the fourth quarter, the Heat really didn't have an answer at all. You could argue that coming back from a 25-plus deficit took a toll on everybody, but LeBron James is getting a lot of heat, and I gotta ask, do you guys think is it fair to blame LeBron for not taking over in Game 3 when the Heat were making their run, particularly in the fourth quarter?
I don't. I don't believe so. I think that. I mean, I'm not gonna blame this on fatigue. I'm not gonna blame this on anything else. I think that he had his normal third quarter, end of third quarter, fourth quarter rest, and I think that maybe he was pressing a little bit. I mean, it is the NBA Finals, but I don't blame him. He has a team around him, and they really just didn't play very well as a unit last night at all.
Yeah,
But
I agree with that. I mean, what I like to get in is, once again, the lack of touches for Bosh. He only got 12 of them. I'd also like to talk about how LeBron scored the first 14 of their 20 points. So the Spurs are making this run in the first quarter where the Heat just can't get stops, and it's clear that I mean, you could blame LeBron. He's the best player in the world. Maybe he should take it over a little bit more. But he kind of carried them through that first quarter. He was the one keeping on from completely blowing open. Like 14 to 20 in one quarter, that's something you'd see from any of the greats. So I have a hard time truly blaming him for this game. And like he says, it's easy to hate LeBron because right now he's the best player in the world, and he does do some things that I personally disagree with. But for last night's game, I have a hard time putting this on him. I just got to step up here. There's no other way to put this.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's pick our winners for Game 4. James, who you got? Spurs or Miami?
I had Miami winning the series, so if they lose Game 4, it's over. So I have to go Miami.
I gotta agree with him. I think Miami, after last night, if they don't have a different defensive intensity,
Yeah.
I don't know if we're even watching the Heat anymore. Because if they don't get out and run tomorrow night, I'm gonna be stunned.
If
I
it's the
don't, I
fourth
don't love
straight
this.
game, I'm picking the Heat. So they better not disappoint me for the third time.
Well, in the Big Three era, they have responded very well to losses, especially in these NBA Finals. And I think Eric Spoelstra doesn't get enough credit for what he does. He is a really good coach who knows how to deal with the players that he has, and he will make the proper adjustments, I think, whether it be taking Mario Chalmers out, playing him less, whatever it is. Maybe we even have a Greg Oden sighting or something. I don't know.
I agree with that. I would love to see Oden. I agree.
Well, some last night.
Yeah, at the end of the game.
Yeah.
All right, in other NBA news, we have the Knicks hiring Derek Fisher to a 5-year, $25 million deal, which is more than he got paid as a player. So I ask you guys, is this a good move for the Knicks?
Terrible move.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Ooh. I think it's the complete opposite.
You know what they should have hired? And I've been preaching this. I've been talking about it. Where's Patrick Ewing on the? At least interview the guy. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm watching them play. And, I watch only 2 of the Knicks games. Unfortunately, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. And you watch Patrick Ewing, even as assistant coach, he's been able to improve a lot of big men. I just don't see why you don't even give him a look. And I understand Fisher has the triangle offense, and obviously he could very well improve the team. But the fact is, it looks like we're heading toward a rebuild. Unless some miracle where I see Melo coming back, I mean, he may even go to the Heat at this point. I just don't know why you go with a guy like Fisher. I guess you're going to stick with him. He's a very young coach. It's going to be interesting. But look at kid struggles. And Fisher wasn't half the player Kid was. So are players truly going to respect him? I really question that. That's just my thoughts on it.
All right. Well, one, I agree the Ewing thing. He clearly made a big impact in Charlotte with Al Jefferson, who was arguably a top 3 center this year. But second off, Jason Kidd ended up coaching pretty damn well, all things considered. He lost his best player in the first month of the season, and they still ended up the 5 seed, which I guess isn't a lot in the East.
I mean, the fact that they were expected to be a title contender, I wouldn't truly
I agree.
put them as
I agree. But then again, Pierce wasn't anything at all year. They lost Brook Lopez in there, who I said is I think their best player. Darren Williams hasn't been the same in a couple of years. But to speak on the Derek Fisher signing, I actually like it a lot. I think Phil Jackson is a very intimidating person. He's an intimidating figure, and I think that Derek Fisher has been around him enough and has been in his system for a long enough time to not be intimidated. Like, in terms of, like, when Phil is criticizing or when Phil's on the court, like, Fisher will be able to help his team, like, adapt to the presence of, like, such a powerful NBA man. Like, Phil Jackson is, like, I feel like he's one of those guys when he steps in the gym, every player is going to turn around and be like, oh, like, Phil Jackson is here, we must, like, improve, and it's going to get too tense. I think Derek Fisher's like the perfect fit, and he also knows the triangle, which is also just another perfect fit, I think.
Yeah, many
but
people
the rebuilding
that's the reason why he got hired.
Huh?
Many people believe that's the biggest reason why he got hired, because he knows the triangle offense so well. I mean, his whole career that's what it was, and he ran the point for it. So that's a big reason why.
Yeah, I mean, Phil obviously, like, he never changed his style and still won 6 championships. So I understand why, like, it was made, like, the decision. And yeah, I agree with the rebuilding thing. And he got 5 years, which obviously shows, like, okay, like, the first couple years may not be, like, the best, but then come 2015, 2016, when we have money and people to sign, that's when it's your time to shine, Derek Fisher.
Yeah, I'm just curious what you guys think. Do you think Phil Jackson will be sort of a Pat Riley, like the Spoelstra type of relationship?
I just think James Dolan's too much of an influence. I think he just gets in the way of that. I think he can. I think he'll try to. I think he really will try to.
Okay.
But I think James Dolan's just has his head screwed on backwards.
Yeah, I think they're going to try and, I guess, imitate that relationship that Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra have. I mean, Phil Jackson has known Derek Fisher for a very long time. I'm sure they have a great relationship. Whether or not Phil Jackson wants to, sit over Derek Fisher's shoulder, I mean, that's entirely up to them. I don't think he's going to do it, because if he was going to do that, I think Phil would have just taken over the team himself.
Yeah. But I mean, he's also he's getting up there in age, and he doesn't want to, like, travel and, like, all that. That's why I think he took the job here, like, in New York, as opposed to maybe even LA. Like, LA probably wants him back as a head coach. Phil doesn't have to travel everywhere here.
Yeah. All right, so just to wrap up basketball, I just got to ask you guys, signing Derek Fisher, you got Phil Jackson. The next step for them is waiting to hear back from Melo. He has a deadline of June 23rd. Do you think this affects Melo staying, or is this it? Are we done? Melo's going somewhere else?
I don't think so at all. I think that he's going to opt out either way, because if he opts out, he'd get
way more money.
Yeah, he'll get way more money. So I don't think the deadline really matters, to be honest.
And
Yeah,
Matt,
I agree. I'd say this, Lala, get your credit card together. Lala's gonna be nice stuff. He is going to get paid. You got Houston, you got Los Angeles Clippers, you got the Lakers even coming in. Like Lala is gonna be spending a ton of money. I'm
No one
in,
likes to shop
man.
in New York, though.
And marry a girl who gets a professional athlete. That's what I'm gonna say.
all right, and right before we transition to our next topic, I just want to remind everyone who's listening in, you can add any questions you want. We will gladly discuss with you. Um, and now we talk about baseball.
Okay. The first question I would like to ask you, gentlemen, is: will you rank your top three teams in baseball right now? 1 through 3.
Okay. All right. I'll start.
Yeah.
Um, I'm starting off San Francisco Giants. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're ever gonna lose a game the rest of the season.
I know.
Absolutely fire. I'm gonna go Moneyball in number 2. Obviously, my boys down in Oakland always representing somehow the salary that's less than mine for cleaning pools. And number 3, I got Toronto Blue Jays. Whoever since Casey Janssen came back really stabilized their bullpen, and they've been on fire. Definitely a big fan of what Toronto's been doing. How are you, Miguel?
Yeah, I'm gonna go same thing. No particular order, but I definitely San Francisco Giants, the Athletics, and then the Toronto Blue Jays. And it really pains me to not be able to put the Yankees in there.
Yep. It pains me too. But just a couple things. We all agree on the same order. We have 1 through 3. The Giants. Just want to shout out Madison Bumgarner, who I think is now in the top 15 pitchers in baseball. He's just been flat out dominant. And I think a big addition that they added was Michael Morse. He's very, very, very underrated as a baseball player, and he's been so productive for San Francisco. And in Oakland, I just don't see how you can really go against this, but I think that Billy Beane is the best GM in sports. The guy,
Moneyball?
the guy will, yeah. If you've seen Moneyball, I mean, it's every time I think of Billy Beane, I think of Brad Pitt. I don't know how. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I can't picture him without him being Brad Pitt. Honestly, I don't know.
Jonah Hill isn't still a sidekick.
I got a question for you guys. With the midway point of the season, almost here, right before we start talking about All-Star break, I gotta say, out of these 3 teams, which one do you think is gonna be the most likely to maybe fall back after the All-Star break and kind of, maybe give someone else in their division a chance to take that lead? Or do you think that these 3 teams are gonna finish on top?
I think that all 3 of these teams are legit. I think that the Giants and the Jays can be caught. More the Giants, because I still think the Dodgers are a better overall team. They just haven't. They have to figure out their outfield. They have 5 outfielders for 3 spots. So I think the Giants. It's not that they're going to fade. I think that the Giants are more, or the Dodgers are more likely to catch them. But I think in terms of, I think Oakland is far and away the better team, the best team in their division, and I think there's no one in the American League East that's proven to be anywhere as good as the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the thing with me. Going back to the Blue Jays, you look at the East, and obviously Tampa Bay and Boston. I don't even know what to say about that. That's a huge surprise to me and a shock. I didn't think they would be this far back.
I had Tampa as my World Series
Yeah. Then you have the Yankees, who I'll never count out, but that's because I'm a little biased. And then Baltimore at 32-31, Yankees 32-31 too. What scares me about Toronto, though, and why I'm not going to fully invest in them, if you look at their home record, they're 20-17 at home. They're playing really well on the road, but I just see the same Toronto of the past. Somebody in the American League East is going to start clicking, and for the last 10-15 years, the American League East has been the most competitive division in baseball, and I really think they're going to start bouncing back.
It's arguably the worst this season.
Yeah, this season, again, who would have thought that Tampa Bay would be?
Yeah, I agree.
24-42 at this point.
I'm just going to agree with Miguel, though. I'll say Toronto for a couple reasons. Truthfully, I mean, you look at the start Edwin Encarnacion has gotten off to, and Jose Bautista. They're not true average guys, and they're hitting above 280,
Uh,
which is
I don't know about that. Joey Bats is legit. He's
he.
legit.
I don't mean to take anything from Jose Bautista, but to continue the pace they're on would be ridiculous. I just don't see it, and personally, I'm just not a big fan of the. I don't think that the Rays, Red Sox, and Yankees will continually just play as they have, and Baltimore's getting healthy. Plus, the other two teams on here, I think, are just very legit. I mean, I gotta give a quick shout out on Oakland to my boy Scott Kazmir coming out of nowhere, one of the top pitchers in the game right now. Um, you also got to look with San Fran. I mean, that whole staff has been unbelievable.
Yeah,
I can't
I agree.
see
Yeah, it's
any
been.
that's I'll simply pick the Blue Jays because I just don't believe in any other teams to catch Oakland or San Fran. Like, that could easily be a World Series matchup. You could sell me that right now.
I just the only thing, and like Miguel already touched on, I'm also a Yankees fan, so it pains me to say it. Um, if the Yankees don't make a deal like the Yankees do for starting pitching, Vidal Nuno, David Phelps, and Chase Whitley will not make you a run in August and September. Period.
Yeah.
You cannot rely on Tanaka and Kuroda, who's finally pitching well, to win you. They're not gonna have Tanaka do what the Brewers did with CC when they acquired him a few years back, pitching on 3 days rest, and that's not gonna happen because they're invested in the long run. The Yankees have to get either CC back, pitching healthy, Pineda back, which is another question mark, and they need or they need to go out and make a deal. And I've been saying it. I think they should go to the Cubs and either talk about Samardzija or Jason Hamill. And if that doesn't happen, the only other team that I see catching Toronto is Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Going back to what you were saying before about Masahiro Tanaka, we have a question that was going to be for later, but I guess we could talk about it now. And James, you asked this one. You said, how real is Masahiro Tanaka's sample size? Can we really say how good he is now, and is this going to last? Is he going to be like Daisuke Matsuzaka, for example, and just fall off the face of the earth and end up on the Mets?
Well, Daisuke never really had a sample size to begin with because he was never good to begin with.
Yep.
He came in throwing 25 pitches, anywhere from a meatball to a gyro ball, a bunch of type of foods. I don't know.
He was Charlie from Major League out there. He was naming pitches as he went along.
But
bit outside.
But Tanaka right now, as it stands in his AL ranks, he's first in ERA, first in WHIP, sixth in total Ks. He's actually pitching tonight, so this all could possibly go up. 92 strikeouts to 13 walks.
Which I believe is an MLB record at this point.
That's in 84 innings. So, I mean, and he's only allowed 68 hits. And then he's had 12 starts and 12 quality starts. So I'm pretty sure that sample size is pretty good. If you wanted, I'm sure there's the sabermetrics folks out there that want me to go into that, but I could, if you wanted me to dig into the stats, I'm sure he'd be right up there as well.
Of course. I agree with you 100%. I would just caution a little bit because you haven't really seen Tanaka go through teams 3-4 times. There wasn't a true scouting report when he came in, and that sinker's deadly. I'm not taking anything away. He's came in and he's done everything and more.
I think that's the best bit in baseball.
Yeah, he's been the best pickup of the offseason. I can't really. I'm not trying to throw any hate on him right now. I'm just gonna warn against pitchers who come over and all of a sudden just start killing it because. Once again, it's always to the pitcher's advantage if they don't have a scouting report or where you like to pitch guys and certain things. I'd just say he may be in for a little bit of a slump, but overall, he's been awesome. There's no complaints with Tanaka. He's the real deal.
Yeah, I gotta say the same. I agree. He's the real deal. This guy's amazing. I've seen him play all year long so far. He's the only part of the Yankees that I look forward to this season, other than Derek Jeter. he just he's good. That's all I could say. His splitter is ridiculous. We have a question now from William Barry asking us what our Cy Young predictions are. So,
Wait,
James, we can start with you. Cy Young predictions. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and throw in Masahiro Tanaka right now.
I'm in agreement with you. I have Tanaka, but I have him slightly, and I mean slightly over King Felix, who I think has
My pick.
pitched to a just a lower tier than Tanaka. You can even I don't even care if you pick Felix because they've both been great.
So, King Phillips, Tanaka, Matt.
I'm going King Felix. I mean, the guy's a strikeout machine out in Seattle. And if I'm going to, I mean, this is just my prediction. If I'm going to guess, I haven't seen Tanaka through a whole season. And once again, you also got to remember the day's rest is a little different over where he was playing before. And I just don't know if I completely trust it to continue the whole way through. So I'm just going to take King Felix based on I know he's going to continue to do this all season, and his strikeout rate is unbelievable.
What about
Okay,
the
I
NL?
gotta ask you guys. Oh,
What
go
about
ahead.
the NL? Maddie?
NL, I'll go. I got
Adam
Adam
Wainwright?
Wainwright's simply been dominant. Yeah, Wainwright, far and away. Kershaw's been so disappointing. I've been really surprised at that, honestly.
Well, he's been good. He's been good of late, but he also spent time on the DL, which he actually been on the DL twice this season. So I'm not
Yeah,
ready. I still think by his last 3 seasons, he's the best pitcher in baseball, but this year he's not my Cy Young thus far at all.
Yeah,
But
which one?
I have Johnny Cueto,
I was just gonna say Johnny Cueto. I mean,
and
leads the league in lowest ERA with 1.85, and that is just ridiculous.
yeah, well he also leads baseball in WHIP, and
Yep.
it's .77, and the major league record is .73, and that was by Pedro in his like immaculate 2000 season.
Yep.
So I mean, Cueto's tonight pitched his 13th, 14th game, and he's .04 away from Pedro's all-time record. So I mean,
sure.
the guy has given up 57 hits in 100 innings.
He's
57
been
hits.
unhittable.
That's I don't know, dude. That's pretty incredible.
I gotta ask you guys about two people that we haven't mentioned. Going back to the American League, Mark Burley for Toronto has been pitching lights
Unbelievable.
out. He's a 2.04 ERA, 1.21 WHIP. He's fourth in the league. And then my other guy going to the NL is Tim Hudson, who has also been incredible for San Francisco. He's second in ERA and second in WHIP with 1.97 ERA and a .96 WHIP percentage. So do you think that they're in there?
Uh, as
Matt, you go
Burley,
first.
as far as Burley goes, I'd say this: stat-wise, you could easily say that he's first. But do we really trust a Mark Burley to keep this up at his age throughout the whole season? I mean, as far as a prediction goes, I'm not going to rely on a guy like Burley to keep this up. And it's kind of same with Hudson. The innings argument, once again, is what I'd say. And it's also kind of the same thing I have against Cueto. As far as my predictions go, I like to pick guys I think will continue their pace that they're on right now the rest of the way. And I just trust Wainwright and King Felix as it goes right now. But easily, those guys have been unbelievable. James?
Well, I think you're right. And the thing is about both of them, they pitch to a lot of contact, and I think that can get them in a lot of trouble down the line because you always see. I feel like a lot of Cy Youngs over the years and a lot of the like dominant pitchers, I guess you can say, um, strike more guys out and they get less contact and so forth. Like Tim Hudson doesn't strike people out. He relies on his defense, which is okay because major league defenders are good, but that's not
Yeah.
that's not a Cy Young. A Cy Young is someone who's going to dominate as a Tanaka, as a Cueto, as a Wainwright. Like these guys like Felix just had his career high in strikeouts the other day, and
Yeah.
He used to throw 97, and now he's throwing 91, and he had his career strikeouts. It's crazy, you know. Those are the type of guys that win Cy Youngs. I think that they have been great, but I don't think that. Yeah, they're both in the top 3, 4, 5 in their respective leagues, but I don't think they're going to end up winning the Cy Young.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
have to
agree.
touch some of what James was talking about and agree with him. If you look just sheer numbers, going back to the strikeouts, Tim Hudson 55 strikeouts, Mark Burley 52, and then you got Cueto 109, Tanaka 92, even you Darvish you could throw in there 99 strikeouts,
Yep,
Adam
yep.
Wainwright 91.
Awesome.
So again, these guys they're you know doing the same things that they're doing plus the strikeouts, and I feel like it's a little bit gives them more of an edge.
Well, you don't. It's like when you strike more guys out, you are doing it yourself. When you don't, you're relying on your defenders to get your back.
Yep.
And the Cy Young is a pitching award, not not pitching to defense award. I mean, it's
Yeah.
obviously part of the game, but still.
I agree. I would also add on the fact that you're going to have nights now with these types of guys where you're going to have seeing eye base hits, innings are going to start to compile, and just the innings argument. They're not guys who are going to go 120, 30 pitches into a game. So really, if they have one bad inning where they're just getting seeing eye base hits, that could be it for them for a start. But it's unbelievable what they're doing at their age, and I give them full credit at the moment. I just can't trust them to predict them to keep this up the rest of the year.
All right. Well, since we're on awards, who do you guys think AL and NL MVPs have been so far?
I have Tulo in the NL. I won't even bring up anybody else because he's simply been the best player in baseball.
Yeah.
Any stat you want to put in his way, he's done it this year. And then as far as the AL, it's a little bit more of a conversation. Some people will bring up Abreu because of his home run numbers, but I'll stick to the old reliable. I got Miguel Cabrera. I mean, he does it every other year. I know all the war guys are going to hate me. I'm sorry. I can't take Mike Trout. He's hitting below 300 right now. Miguel Cabrera is mashing the ball. He's hitting 329, 15 home runs. He's just been the best hitter in my mind in baseball, other than Tulo. No disrespect.
Yep.
Yeah, I got Miggy and Tulo.
Same reasons?
Exactly the same.
Well, I have Tulo, but I'm going to make my case for the AL MVP right now. And it's an ex-Yankee. All Yankee fans seem to hop off the bandwagon. Robinson Cano in the AL. I just want to point out that I've always said this, and the award is value, and it's what you do. This is why I think type of players like Ben Zobrist can always be brought up because he plays 13 positions. But anyways, back to Cano. The Mariners have been bad for a very long time. They're 4 games over 500. I'm pretty positive they would be in a wild card position if they ended today. And Robbie is in the top in batting average. He's in the top 5. I actually think he's second in the AL, I want to say. He's actually tied for first in the AL. He's not hitting home runs like he always has, but he's driving in runs. He's in the middle of an young lineup that, I mean, they've won 9 out of 11 games, and their pitching has been good. And just look at the difference. Yankees lose Cano, and they're 1 game over 500. A bad Mariners team gained him, and they're 4 games over 500 in a good spot to make a wild card.
It's a very good case.
While he's leading the AL in batting average.
The thing that strikes me for Cano, though, is that he only has 2 home runs.
But I think that
it's much tougher than Yankee Stadium, though.
I think Cano's going to end. Okay, Dustin Pedroia won an MVP with how many home runs?
But you're not expecting him to hit the home runs that Cano was hitting when he was in New
But
York.
it's also
the stadium definitely helps having that right porch.
Exactly, and Seattle's a much different park, but it's not taking away anything from his RBI production. It's not taking anything away. He's actually hitting better average-wise than he ever has in New York. I mean, he just does things to make you better. He was the focus point of the Yankees lineup last year with a bunch of scrubs and minor league players, and they won 85 games. It was Cano and the bums, if you want to call it that, and they won 85
The
games.
spirit most very Yankees last year. I agree with that. And I'll just add on. I mean, I could definitely see a case where Cano wins it, especially if you're going to take MVP as the whole case over a guy like Miggy. You can make the case defensively too. I definitely could see that argument.
Yeah, and Cano's better defensively too than almost all the guys that you're going to name. He's a great defensive second baseman.
Like I said, I agree. There's definitely the case for Cano. I'd put him and Cabrera were my top two. I just went with Cabrera because I've seen him do it year after year. And the 2 home runs thing kind of a turn.
Well, I think we have another question from Amanda Barry, and it's about Jeter retiring and what we think about it.
I mean, if you aren't sad for baseball with Jeter retiring, I don't know if you even have watched a baseball game in your life.
I agree, brother.
Like, I know people are going to make a case he shouldn't get voted into the All-Star game, but, like, he's earned that. Like, we've seen other players get voted in on that, and if there isn't a guy like Derek Jeter who doesn't deserve it, then who really does deserve to go to an All-Star game? I mean, he's just, I don't know. If I have a daughter, I hope she marries.
I'm one of those guys. I'm one of those
You're one of those guys?
Jeter shouldn't make it.
Oh,
maybe
why not?
I'm not saying that he shouldn't make it, but I don't think he shouldn't start at all. I really don't think that he should be a starting shortstop for the AL, especially how you told me before the show you were talking about Alexi Ramirez possibly being your MVP candidate.
Very true.
Huh?
While I agree, the body of work is way far superior. Like, it's almost impossible. You're going to tell me you're going to bring this guy in his final All-Star game off the bench?
I know.
Jeter has never rode the bench. I refuse. I'll give it to him. Stats-wise, better.
This is
what do you think?
This is a respect thing. If you go back a few years ago, the last All-Star game that was at Yankee Stadium, there was a discussion between Jonathan Papelbon and, at the time, Boston Red Sox coach Terry Francona on who should be the closer at Yankee Stadium. And Jonathan Papelbon felt it should have been him, and Terry Francona just looked at him and laughed. That this is Yankee Stadium, there's no one else that's going to get it other than Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
And looking at it now, just out of respect for Jeter and the way that he's played this game and the way he's done it cleanly, he has to start. He plays 1, 2, 3 innings. He has to start this game. That's it. No questions asked. He deserves it. The amount of time and effort and blood and sweat he's put into baseball and what he's done for it and what it means, this is Derek Jeter's position. That's where he's going to start. That's where he's going to play. That's where he's going to go out as. And that's the bottom line. There are definitely a lot of other deserving people, but if you really just go through an entire, 15 to 20 years, Derek Jeter deserves this more than anyone else in baseball.
Well, I think it would kind of be cool, like if it was like they had Rivera like enter in the 8th inning. I feel like that would be kind of cool, like not the 8th, but like a later inning where he can like at the beginning of the game he starts, he's going to be announced in the starting lineup. I feel like if he comes in later in the game, he'll have his own moment. Like it'll be like now playing shortstop. They'll have like they should have Bob Shepard's voice, like now batting number 2 shortstop number 2. Like that's what they should do. Like, but I mean I understand like obviously like he's one of the biggest figures in the game, like the game's history, like the modern era, but like it sucks because he's been pretty bad this year, and he's a singles hitter and he's batting second, and I don't know. I might be on board of moving him down the lineup later in the season, but I guess that will be determined by the All-Star break.
Yeah, I could have
Yeah.
definitely agreed with him moving down the line.
It also depends on who's healthy or not. Like if you could put Beltran in the 2 hole, you could switch him around
Yeah.
so that no matchups
He
and
just got back,
whatnot.
so it should be interesting.
Huh?
'Cause he just got back, so it could be interesting. I
Yeah.
agree with you though. 100.
It just stinks because like he's like who we all grew up watching and like he's just not very good anymore.
No.
As
I
sad as
think
that sounds, and I'm a Yankee fan and I'm saying this and it hurts, but it's just the truth.
he's picking a good
Nice.
time to retire.
Okay,
Now we're
so
all depressed.
yeah, I know that dude. That's a tough top. It's like just a tough topic. Like we all grew up like that's just he's just the face of baseball. He has been for
I
the
remember
last.
where I was for the 2000 hit, man. 2000 World Series, 2001 World Series.
Dude,
I feel like
didn't cousin Mike, his roommate, like was the one who caught the ball from like college? Did you know that?
I I did I can't I don't know, but I know he works. The dude works for Modell's now. You think a
Yeah,
guy who works at Modell's wouldn't be so smug since he only caught a baseball? That's the
yeah, yeah.
guy you'll ever meet.
We have an interesting comment from one of our viewers, Billy Barry again. He says, Yasiel Puig, the future of baseball. Truth. I want to go back to this MVP race in the NL, and does Yasiel Puig have a chance of maybe being in the talks with Tulo? I mean, he is, I think, second in batting average, and
Absolutely.
he's playing really well. And last year, there was a lot of talk about him being on the All-Star team, and, is it fair? Should he be? Should he not be? This year, I think he definitely deserves it and will be on the team no matter what. You can't say anything about it. So, is that a possible new face of baseball?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's gonna take. I think when Jeter retires, I think that goes to Cabrera for a couple years, and then it goes to the Mike Trout era.
I think it could possibly go to Robinson Cano, too, depending on what he does in Seattle. Or if he ever comes back to New York.
Not a chance.
No Robinson Cano?
All right. I just don't see it personally. I'm sorry,
What?
but I mean, I could see Yasiel Puig. He is very good. He could be the future, but I just think this is Mike Trout's league. I think we're all just living in a Mike Trout world. And as far as catching Tulo, I don't think he's gotten out this whole season. I'm still convinced I haven't seen him be put out. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if everyone's just going to walk in. I feel like Barry Bonds may have to watch because his intentional walks record maybe the way this. I just don't. I mean, he'll definitely finish second. I'll give you that. He definitely will finish second. But catching Tulo the way he's hitting, I don't see it right now.
I think there's a big case, and I think there's such a valid argument to say that since Yasiel Puig has been called up last year, he's been the best player in baseball. I'm going to put it out there right now. I don't know. I'm not saying he has been. I'm saying that there is a
I agree 100%.
very good. I think there's a very good argument that can be made saying that Puig has been the best since.
He's have the best record.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything, dude. I understand there's the antics and there's everything that comes along with Puig, but that's what makes Puig Puig. You
Yeah.
live with the bad because the good is so amazing.
Yeah, no, I agree. You could make the argument. I'm not 100%. I'm just saying as far as the MVP race for this season, last season, the second half of the year, he was 100% the NL MVP. If there was halftime awards like that, there was no doubt about it. It's just as far as for the MVP, I don't see him catching too low, but I could definitely, you can't argue really against him being at least in your top three for right now players in baseball. Really tough. He does everything out there.
All right, just a quick question to wrap up baseball. This is our first season with instant replay. How do you guys think it's been working so far? Would you change anything about it, or is it fine the way it is? James, you can go first.
I like it. I think it needed to happen. I mean, the case with the umpire in Detroit that ruined the perfect game a couple years ago, I think that was really the icing on the cake. And that was like when everyone was like, oh, it's really time to start using our. I mean, we're in an era that is just full of electronics, and it's time that baseball adopted it as well. And I've liked it so far. Uh, they need to tighten up a little bit, but I like how you get one challenge game, and if you get it right, you get another one. I like that. I think that's very. It's like football.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
and I think that works very well in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would just add on, as far as the instant replay goes, I enjoy that there's not a ton of time that these teams can take before they challenge. That's a big plus for me. I think it's already better than a lot of the league's replays. I mean, you're sitting
Yeah.
here, you're watching the finals, man. These replays are taking 5, 10 minutes. I'm sitting there MLB. As soon as a challenge is made, 2, 3 minutes, umpire returns, you got a call. I mean, they haven't been 100% right. No league ever is. I personally love it. I think baseball has finally joined the future, and it's a great thing for the game. It's definitely increasing the play calls being made. Miguel?
Yeah, I gotta say I really like it. I've been pushing for an instant replay in all sports, regardless of what it is, for a long time. Nothing but positive things can happen from having instant replay. There are numbers and numbers and numbers of incidences where a lot of sports could have benefited from, a replay system. I mean, one of the best replay systems I think has been tennis. They have it down to like an actual science, literally a science,
Oh yeah,
and
that's awesome.
it's incredible. I mean, they could just pinpoint exactly where the ball is, and I think that baseball finally catching up. For a long time, baseball has been America's pastime, and it literally has been in the past, like stuck in the past in terms of rules and things that are, a little outdated. And they're finally catching up with the instant replay, and I think it's a great move for baseball. A lot of people were talking, oh, it's going to make the game longer. Don't do it. Well, the game's already 4 hours anyway. What's an extra 10 minutes? Um, I think going forward, definitely keep the instant replay. And like James said, the rule, if you get it right, you get another one.
Yeah.
Dude, it's
I,
already better than the NBA.
Yeah.
yeah, actually, I was gonna say, I think the NBA should kind of adapt baseball's rule.
Dude, NBA
Yeah.
replay is god awful. It
It's
takes so
definitely the worst.
long, man.
And I'd even add in, as far as like the replays go, I love the seventh inning or later rule. It is like the 2 minute warning rule in football. I think that's a great addition.
All right, that's about wrapping up our baseball talk. We now head into the biggest event in the world, the World Cup, which is actually starts tomorrow.
Don't tell America that.
So what we're going to do now is I want to just read off each group, and I want you guys to give me your winners of the group, and then obviously the second team that'll be advancing into the round of 16. I would just want to start out by giving you guys the percentages of the favorites to win, and we have here Brazil with a 45% chance of winning, and obviously they're the host. Argentina is the next closest with 13%. Germany is at 11%. Spain at an 8% chance of winning, and then Chile and France both with 4% chance, and then every other team is somewhere under 2%, and America unfortunately is at a less than 1% chance of winning.
And I
So,
want to answer Group D first. I want to answer Group of Death first.
all right, let's start it off then. Group of Death. We have, America, unfortunately, Ghana, Portugal, and one of the favorites to win, Germany. So, James, you asked for it, so who you got?
I am going with my country coming out of the pool along with Spain. I mean, Portugal. Sorry.
Portugal. See if
Yeah.
Germany getting upset.
Wow, no Germany.
I think Germany has a lot of injuries. A lot of injuries. And I forget what country they just played, but they didn't look very good at all.
That is the boldest statement so far.
Yeah, that definitely is.
That's why I wanted to go first. USA is coming out of the group of death.
All right, I'm going to piggyback on James real quick because I agree to a certain extent. I believe that the USA is going to make it out somehow. And I'm not just being biased. I think, you know what? I really wanted Landon Donovan to be on this team, but I think cutting him shows, how, bold and ready we are. And, it makes a statement like, look, it's time for us to really start making some tough decisions and get in there and win. I think we have a lot of good talent on this team with Bradley, Josie Altidore. There's finally been a sighting. He's alive. He has a pulse.
Yeah, I know.
He's finally on. He ended like a 6-month, goal streak of not having a goal at all. We still have Dempsey there. You have, Tim Howard, our brick wall in that goal. And to be honest with you, I'm not sold on Portugal. They also have a lot of injuries, and after Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm not impressed. Germany, however, I think they are going to be able to work through a lot of their injuries and get their team back healthy eventually. And, Ghana, I'm sure that they'll make some noise. I know that they have the USA's number. They've knocked us out of the last 2 World Cups, but I have faith that this will be the year we finally get past them. I think Portugal and Ghana are going to really battle each other, and ultimately it's going to be Germany walking away with this, obviously, as the top seed, and then America just barely squeezing ahead of Portugal.
All right, I would just like to give a big shout out to my boy Cristiano Ronaldo. We're getting a lot of disrespect on here. You just won the Ballon d'Or. Your team just won the Champions League, and apparently you're not making it out.
Is it possible
with that being said,
the team is
I
actually
love
better?
America. I love American pie. I love baseball. But we are not a soccer country yet. And the fact of the matter is, Portugal and Germany are severely better sides. I'm sorry. I've heard a lot. We could possibly make it through. But let's be honest. Right now, Portugal's not just sporting the best player in the world. I mean, he's number 2. But what I'm saying is, we're a lot deeper than a lot of people are giving them credit for. And the fact is, Germany is definitely a favorite. So to put either of those two ahead of America ahead of them is kind of silly. Also, I'm going to add in, I could even see Ghana finishing 3rd. We might finish last in this group. The fact is, Ghana's eliminated us the last 2 times. Ghana's a very good side. I just don't like the leading off of Landon Donovan. I don't think that was a very smart move. He has experience and he's a goal scorer, something that we don't do. And I just don't see where the goals are going to come from. So against his inner Jonathan Quick, I just don't know where the goals are coming from and how we're advancing. I'm going Portugal and Germany.
I got to ask you one question. Can you please show me proof that you were born in this country and that you are American?
I feel like I should have ate apple pie and wore my I Love America shirt when I was doing this. I'm sorry.
The 4th of July is coming up.
Wait, and time out. Think about this. Jurgen Klinsmann has come out and said that a successful World Cup run for this team would be to just make it out of the group.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a guy who thinks they're going to make it out of the group? Even their own coach is kind of saying that would be successful.
Yo, but hypothetically speaking, say USA beats Portugal, or say they beat Germany, what's to say they can't beat anyone else in the world?
I mean, hypothetically, then they could beat everyone in the world. But
exactly. So if they make it out of the group stage, they can make a run in this tournament. Boom.
I'll say that Portugal is not the top. I don't see them. Like I said, Germany's winning the group. I don't have Portugal on some next mantle. I just think they're a very good side. I feel like if they do make it out of the group, they're going to have to come up against possibly an Argentina or Brazil. I can't see them making that deep a run. Klinsmann has already come out and said it's going to be a success if they make it out of the group. And he's the coach. He's with them 24/7. And he's not even showing I have a hard time buying this team right now. The way Klinsmann's come out, get rid of your captain, I think the heart of the team. I think that would be pretty fair. And your goal scorer, he was clutch last World Cup. He's the reason we advanced. I don't know. I think we kind of shoved them aside a little quick. That's just my thinking.
All right, moving on to the other groups. I just want you guys to give me the winners, and then we'll move on to the next question, which is who you think will win the entire thing. So, in Group A, we have Brazil, Mexico, Cameroon, and Croatia. Just give me your winners real quick.
Brazil, Croatia.
All right, Matt.
Brazil, Croatia. Mandzukic for the win right there. He's going to get them second.
I still have faith in Mexico, even though they're battling through some injuries. So I'm going to go Mexico and Brazil. Group B, we have Spain, the Netherlands, who haven't been playing as well as they did in previous World Cups, Chile, and Australia. Who you got?
I think that's the best first round matchup in the whole tournament. Or the best first game of the whole tournament.
Spain.
Netherlands, Spain. Yeah, I actually think the winner of that's going to win the World Cup.
Really? Wow.
Yep. I think both of them advance.
So Spain and Netherlands. Matt?
I just want to give a shout out to Robin Van Persie's hair. It seems to never move when he's on the pitch. I don't know how he does that. I'm going to go Spain and Netherlands too. I mean, there's no way they're knocking out the reigning World Cup champs in the first round. And that offense, the ML2Sports with Snyder, Robin, and then you have Van Persie's non-moving flow. There's no way you eliminate that flow in the first round. I'm sorry. I'm going Netherlands.
I'm going to be the one that does this a little bit differently, and I'm going to go Spain and Chile. I have faith in Chile.
You like to eat it?
Miguel is a big fan of the Central America and South America teams. I don't know if you guys are aware.
Group C, we have Colombia, Greece, and my favorite team because they have one of my Manchester City players and arguably one of my favorite players, the Ivory Coast, and Japan. Who you guys got coming out of Group C?
I'm going to go with Japan and Ivory Coast.
Wow.
Matt?
I'm going to go. I'm sorry, can you repeat the two other teams real quick?
It was the Ivory Coast, Japan, Greece, and Colombia.
Oh, I'll go. I got Greece winning that group. I'm a big fan of the Greek team. They make an awesome salad and gyro, but and then Colombia finishing second.
All right, I'm going to keep with this Central America, South America trend and go Colombia. And then I got to go with my boys in the Ivory Coast, Yaya Toure. Group D, we have Uruguay, Costa Rica, England, and Italy. Matt, let's start with you.
I mean, that's a damn good group. You know what? I'm going to give England a quick shout-out, supporting a lot of my boys from Liverpool. I'll give England coming in second in that group, and my boy Luis Suarez, better known as the best striker in England right now for the Premier League. And I'm sorry, who led the league in goals?
Who led the league in goals per minute? Sergio Aguero.
I mean, if I hurt Luis Suarez for half the year.
All right, James, who you got?
I got my spicy meatballs. I got Italy and England.
Yeah, I agree with James. I got Italy and England.
My boy Gianluigi is gonna carry my my second favorite international team to the out of the first round.
And then Group E, we have Switzerland, Ecuador, France, and Honduras. Who do you guys got?
I'll go Ecuador and France. And I got France in the group. And,
William Barry making us laugh. Thanks, William Barry.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hold that one together. That was a funny comment. But yeah, I mean, as far as France goes, they've been disappointing last couple of World Cups. You gotta figure they're gonna turn around at some point. I mean, I know they're gonna surrender if any type of aggressive moves made on the field, but I think they'll win the group. James?
You said Uruguay was in this, right?
No,
Switzerland, Ecuador, France, and Honduras.
Oh yeah, Switzerland and France in this one.
All right, I'm going to continue with my trend of Manchester City players because I know my boy Samir Nasri's from France. I'm going to go France and Switzerland.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I just want to point out that Manchester City won the Barclays Premier League. Just saying.
All right, I just got to ask you.
I know he's a hater.
Say Honduras one more time, man. People out there want to hear it.
You want to hear it pronounced with Spanish accent?
Yes.
Honduras.
Honduras.
I can go
All
all of
right,
them. So Brazil, Mexico, España, Colombia,
all right.
Uruguay, Costa Rica. It goes down forever. All right. Hey, I'm gonna go France and Switzerland. Going on to Group F, Argentina, Bosnia, Iran, or Nigeria. James, we can start with you.
I'm not gonna lie, I missed what you just said. You must ask
Nigeria,
again.
Iran, Bosnia, or Argentina?
I'm gonna go with Argentina, obviously, and I'm gonna go with Bosnia as my second country out of the group.
Just like to point out that Edin Dzeko plays for Bosnia, and he is also on Manchester City.
Yep.
I'm gonna go. I mean, you got to go Argentina. Lionel Messi, best player in the world. But and then with my other team, I'm gonna go Bosnia Herzegovina. I got my boy Ken on, giving me all the facts on that squad. So I trust him to go through. Trust his soccer knowledge. Shout out, Miguel.
I'm gonna go with Argentina. I think they have the best, striker in the world by far. It's not even close. They also have another guy by the name of Lionel Messi. Just saying. No, no, they got Messi. They have Aguero. That's all you need. I really think that Argentina actually might even be able to take out Brazil. And then I got Nigeria coming out of there. We already worked on the Group G, Group of Death. Going on to Group H in the final group, Belgium, Algeria, Russia, or Korea. Who you guys got?
I'm gonna go Korea, and that's all I'm gonna go with because that's the only team I like out of that stage.
All right. I'll go with. Can you just repeat the other three real quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was Belgium, Algeria, Russia, and Korea.
All right. I'm gonna go Belgium and Russia. I'm gonna have Belgium winning the group, and then I'm gonna go Russia finishing second.
Yeah, I got.
Miguel.
Yeah, same thing. I actually didn't even want to pick anyone in this group because I don't think any of them have a chance.
Yeah, that's why I just said Korea because I remember my high school team played against there's a school called KO, and it was all like Koreans, and they were just nasty. So I'm
All right,
supporting
now
the
I'm gonna ask
cause.
you guys who wins and why. Matt, we can start with you.
I'm gonna go as the Germans. They got a really good firepower up front. You got Mario Gomez leading the striking charge. You got Bastian Schweinsteiger in the midfield controlling the play. They have been absolutely incredible. I think it's their time to break through. I know a lot of people call them choke artists, but you know what? It's their time. And plus, I got to go against this whole South America, Central America theme we've had going on here.
All right, and
Dude,
one more
James?
question.
I
Well, this
disagree.
Go ahead.
Dude, Spain has. I don't know why everyone's just giving up on Spain. I feel like everyone is like the consensus is Brazil. Miguel already stated yeah, Spain may be old, but they have 17 players returning. They've all played together for so long. I think they're just the best team. I think if they lose to the Netherlands, I think the Netherlands wins.
All right, I'm gonna go with the host country. I feel like they're due for a World Cup win. They're always the favorites, and I think this year is actually their year. And this will lead into my next question, which is who wins, best player of the cup? Well, actually, has two questions: the player of the cup, and then who gets your golden boot. And I'll start off. I'm going Neymar. I think this is his time. The torch is about to be passed. It's no longer Messi or Ronaldo. It's going to be Neymar's to carry. And I feel like he's going to make a huge impact on this Brazil team, and they're going to come out, and they're just going to be unstoppable. And then for my golden boot, I have a feeling this is going to be a really big World Cup for Argentina and Messi. I think that Messi is going to have some type of crazy year, maybe like, double-digit goal scoring. I'm not saying he'll break any records like 15, which I think was set by Ronaldo in Brazil, but somewhere around like 10 or 11 goals for Messi, and he might get them to the finals. And I have that, but I have Neymar winning the MVP there, and Brazil winning the whole thing.
All right. In order for the Germans to win the cup, they're gonna need a big play from Bastian Schweinsteiger, as I've already mentioned. He's gonna have to control the play. He's gonna have to stay in the middle. As far as my Golden Boot, I got a couple guys I'm really looking at. I'm looking at Lionel Messi, obviously. You got your Cristiano Ronaldo's, but I'm gonna give you a guy under the radar here. I'm gonna give you Fred from Brazil.
Yep.
Neymar is a passing genius. When you got Fred in the middle, he's a great finisher, and he could be on the end of many of his passes. James?
Well, since Spain, I have Spain winning it all. Since I have Spain winning it all, I'm gonna. Sorry, there's been comedic relief in our comment page provided by William Barry III. But as William continues to laugh, I think that Iniesta, who was just ranked third in the whole World Cup, is going to be the player of the cup, and because I think I don't know, he controls the game so well, and that's just Iniesta. My Golden Boot, I'm going to say Messi because he's just so good.
All right, and that is it for World Cup. And we now leave with our final topic of the night, which is the Stanley Cup. I'm not sure if that game actually just went final, but we turn to Matt for that. Matt, your comments on the Stanley Cup and the Rangers, do they even have a chance, or that's it?
Well, they've been down 3-0 already this playoff,
They won
so
2-1.
they do have a chance. They won 2-1 tonight. Very nice victory. They were able to finally beat the club. They were able to hold on at the end. I'd caution them against doing that again. It was a very risky third period. Pucks were in their zone the whole time. But yeah, they definitely still have a chance. When you have a goalie like Henrik Lundqvist, you're going to be in every game. And I mean, yeah, they're down 3-1, but two of their losses were in overtime in games which they led, and the Kings have only really led in this series for one game. I'd caution the Kings against a very, fired up, very emotionally led Ranger team that I think could definitely make a run. I don't know if I'd call it that way, I'd predict it that way, but it definitely can make a run.
Hey, the Kings have come back. The Kings have come back from 3-0 series in the last they won 2 years ago. And now they came first round of this playoffs. They came back from 3-0. Yeah. So it's more frequent in hockey than any other sport.
100%. It happens a lot more than people think. The series you're referring to, the first round when they beat out the Sharks, and then they've come back all playoffs. I'm interested to see them in the driver's seat going forward, especially next game, Game 5. They're playing in LA.
I have one. Just back to the baseball topic. Just about the All-Star game selections.
Okay.
I'm gonna read off the AL starters according to the votes. You guys tell me what you think.
Okay.
Catcher Wieters, Miguel Cabrera at first, Cano at second, Josh Donaldson at third, Jeter at short, and the outfield is Batista, Melky Cabrera, Mike Trout, DH Nelson Cruz. Do you guys agree? Have anyone else in mind?
Maybe a spot for Encarnacion. It's really tough to point out a specific player. I think most of the AL is pretty deserving. Once again, you could argue Jeter, but there's just that respect factor is what I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the last thing I would say, the Jeter thing. It's possible you could have someone else there, but again, it's Derek Jeter.
I'm obviously am a Yankees fan, so I know what you're talking about, but I think it's Alexi Ramirez's game position to lose at this point. He's been the best shortstop in the AL, and I don't think there's a question about it. And I also, Wieters has played 26 games. I don't think that's very fair. That's obviously a fan vote. I think that Kurt Suzuki from Minnesota should be the starter. He's hitting over 300. The Twins have not been terrible. He's held up the staff, led by the amazing Phil Hughes. Apparently, he's now good. I guess everyone's good when they leave the Yankees. So, yeah, I think Kurt Suzuki and Alexi Ramirez in the AL. And just for the NL, the starters are Yadier Molina, Adrian Gonzalez, Chase Utley, David Wright, Troy Tulowitzki, Yasiel Puig, Giancarlo Stanton, and Carlos Gomez. Any complaints there?
I got two. My two would be with
Sarah.
first a catcher, Lucroy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm with you on that 100%.
He's hitting 335 on the season. I think Yadier is a pure fan vote. I will give fans credit. It's a lot tougher to vote on catchers because it's very tough to distinguish a lot of the times between the leagues. That's why a guy like Wieters and Molina will often finish in the top because you hear about them more. Lucroy's done a very quiet, awesome season in the middle of a very good Milwaukee lineup. So I'd put him. And the other one, how is Paul Goldschmidt not starting at first base over Adrian Gonzalez? He's hitting 309. Adrian Gonzalez hitting 250. Goldschmidt more runs, more home runs, more RBIs. I'd say he's a better fielder for all argument's sake. I don't see the case how Adrian Gonzalez is ahead of him in the voting.
I agree. I actually also one more. I think I don't have a problem with Carlos Gomez per se. He's been great, but I think Andrew McCutchen has just flat out been great. He has a .432 on base percentage.
Wow.
That is incredible. So I mean, I think him over Gomez is an argument. I think Puig has obviously been the best there at that position, but yeah, I agree with the Goldschmidt and the Lucroy one as well. So
we just have a few last questions from some watchers. We have Billy, who's been chiming in all night. He says, Solarde, ?
Is that
he's been great.
Do you think he's an all-star? Is that the question?
Yeah, do you think he should be an all-star?
Yeah, I'll go for argument's sake. I'll say yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem. I have another question from Lee. We're just wrapping up now. What do you think of Iran's chances in the World Cup? Well, Lee, I'm going to go ahead and say they don't have a great shot.
Yeah, they do.
I'd say they have as good a shot as me visiting Iran tomorrow, which is 0%. That'd be my guy.
Or ever, realistically.
Hey, you never know. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. For more sports, you can follow us each at our pages.
You're wrong.
James, if you want to just give your site.
Yeah, it's www.allfacetsofthegame.wordpress.com.
And then Matt.
Yeah, you can check me out at BarrySportsReport.com.
Yeah, and then you can follow me on ML2Sports.com. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in on our first show. We really appreciate it. Thanks for all the questions, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, you got it. Next time we got